Ade Oladipo here for Pro Boxing fans with former two-time world champion. I think people forget that. And now trainer to champions, John David Jackson. Enjoying yourself so far in Saudi Arabia?
Most definitely. It's a beautiful place, and they're really hospitable here. They treat you well, so it's nice to be here.
You've got a guy on the card that a lot of people don't know too much about. You look at his amateur background and it's phenomenal. Three-time world champion, Olympic game medalist, European champion, ticking the box amateur as an amateur. As a pro, 1-0 so far. Majidov, for those that don't know, tell us about him a bit.
Yeah, Majidov is a good fighter. He's, like I said, I trained him back in 2011. We went to China together. Very good fighter, very skilled. Making the transition to professional, it's not that difficult, but you know the amateur background is embedded in him, and there's a couple of things we have to do differently. But all in all, he's a very good fighter, and they have him on the short track to a world title. I don't like that because it doesn't give me the time to teach him the way I want to. But we have to do what we have to do to make him a better fighter, and he's learning and he's listening. You know, like I said, I've known him since 2011. Very good student.
There's always this argument about boxing that you can stay too long in the amateurs. You almost need to get the amateurs thing out of the way, then turn pro. Do you feel like he's almost stayed too long in the amateurs?
You know, I would say that, but if people realize what he went through, his country paid him a lot of money to stay amateur, and you can't turn that down. I understand that, and it was a lot of money. So for him, the money was there, and he had to take it. Now he wants to turn pro, and because like you said, he beat Joshua, so that's really what it is, his selling card. Yeah. I myself would have rather he turned pro back in 2012 after the Olympics. That didn't happen. But, you know, it makes the transition somewhat difficult because that amateur style is embedded in him. But we're trying to break that out. And he has a chance to really make some noise, but he has to do it rather quickly.
You mentioned that they're trying to fast-track him to a world title shot or to get him in that world title picture. How much input do you have in terms of level of opponents?
Well, actually, they're listening to me a lot because you have to match him properly without getting him hurt or beat up. Because if you do that, then now he's damaged goods. So you have to do it, but you have to do it in a timely manner because he doesn't have much time. And so for him, it's definitely that fast track. But there's enough durable trial horse fighters that he can beat up along the way to get to learn what he needs to learn. So when he does fight for a title, if he fights for a title, he's ready, mentally and physically.
Talk about durable fighters. He fights Tom Little on the card on Saturday. Tom Little, fighter from the UK, has been in there with the likes of Hrgovic and done okay for a few rounds. Is that what you're expecting, maybe to get a few rounds from him?
Exactly, because I watched him with, I think his name is Du Bois, and he chased him. Tom was running on that fight because Du Bois could punch. So, we have to cut the ring off and just take our time and go to the body and maybe stop him late because I don't really see a knockout early because, Little's durable. And he's been around the block. He, unfortunately, kind of knows what he's here for. At the trial, he's a trial horse. He's going to test the kid. And our job is to make that test easy. So if he can do what we've pretty much draw on the drawing board we've done for him, it should be an easy fight, and he should probably stop him within 4.
It's a great card, some good heavyweight fights on there. A fight that I think is going kind of under the radar a bit is Povetkin versus Hunter. That's a great fight between almost an old kind of war horse in Povetkin, a young guy in Hunter that's coming up. How do you see that one playing out?
That's an interesting fight. Hunter, like you said, he's cagey, slick. To me, his biggest problem is that he's not a big puncher in the heavyweight division. That's going to hurt him. If Povetkin can land that left hook and then maybe hurt him with a few shots and cut the ring off and not get confused with all the trickery that Hunter's going to put on him, it makes for a very interesting fight. Can the old veteran break down the young, cagey, slick fighter? And can the young, cagey, slick fighter with no punching power, can he keep Povetkin off of him? So it makes for an intriguing fight, and it should be interesting to see how it plays out on both parts.
The big one, Andy Ruiz Jr. Versus Anthony Joshua. People have gone back and forth on this one. Back home in the UK, people are nervous. I have to be honest with you. People remember how the first fight went, and they think it could go that way again. Ruiz has come as the underdog. Does that shock you that Ruiz has come the underdog again?
Maybe. It doesn't shock me, but the betting public doesn't really understand that this kid can fight. The first fight was an upset, yeah, because I don't think Joshua took him seriously. The thing is, and I tell people in the second fight, it's not so much what Andy's going to do. Andy's coming to fight. Win, lose, or draw, he's already hit the lottery. After the first fight, this second fight, he gets paid well. I don't want to see him lose. But if he loses, guess what? He still walks away happy. The pressure's on Joshua because what fighter shows up come fight night? His mindset. Is he going to be ready to fight? If he gets hit with another shot, where does he go from there? So all the pressure is on Joshua, and that's a tough place to be sometimes. I don't think Ruiz really has a worry in the world because, like I said, if he loses, he still wins. If he wins, the lottery gets bigger, you know. So and he wasn't expected to win the first fight. Yeah. So whatever he does is going to work for him. And like I say, he'll probably be more relaxed because there's no pressure on him. All the pressure's on Joshua. So whatever Joshua does, that determines how this fight plays out.
We all kind of gasped when we saw Joshua at the public workout 2 days ago. He looks a lot smaller than what we're used to. People are saying he could come in under 17 stone. Does that muscle loss drop surprise you, or was it a necessity that he needed to kind of get rid of?
Mentally, maybe that's what he needed also. I haven't seen him yet, but I've heard he's lost some weight and I guess more chiseled. That might not be the problem in front of him, though. You know what? To me, it's not how you look; it's how you fight. So it depends on which Joshua shows up. You know, I guess he hired some new people in his camp. Are they the right people for him? You know, do they have the right formula? Because honestly, I don't think Ruiz is going to change much from what he did the first fight. It would be kind of crazy for him to deviate from that. Maybe add a few things and take away a few things, but don't change what worked for the first fight. Just make it better. It's what Joshua does. Does he box? Does he punch? He dropped Ruiz, so it's not like he can't hurt him. So what do you do, and how do you do it? So all the pressure on Joshua from his country, for himself. So it depends on what he does. To me, how he comes in mentally prepared, not physically. He's gonna be ready physically. The mental state. That's the big thing for him.
If you were a betting man, John, who would you put your money on in that one?
Man, whew, I'm not a betting man, so look. I tell you what I tell people. In all honesty, Joshua should win this fight. Yeah. He's the bigger fighter. He's the better fighter. But to me, it's the mental status. How is he mentally? If he's mentally ready, then he's ready for anything. But if his mental state is not good, then he's in trouble.
In a few months, hopefully, fingers crossed, we get to see a fight for the Ring Magazine heavyweight title between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder's been looking great recently. Tyson Fury, not so good against Otto Wallin, good against Tom Schwartz. Do you think Wilder gets the job done in that one now?
I think so. Wilder, one thing I love about him is he believes in himself. He believes in his power. And the things that he says, he does. Is he the best boxer? No. Does he need help with his boxing skill? Yes. But the thing you have to look at, does he allow his trainer to teach him what he needs to know? Or is he okay with what he already does? Because he knows if nothing else, he has that right hand knockout power. But if you can't land that shot, you're in trouble. So sometimes you need to fall back on other things, but at this stage of his life, is he willing to learn? I mean, good fighter. Right now, he's number one across the board as a heavyweight. And I don't think that, to me, Fury's the guy to beat him. Because it's like the last two opponents that Fury's had, really, come on. That's not going to get you ready for Wilder at all. I think Wilder's mindset is he's ready for it, he wants it, and he knows he knows he can hurt Fury. This time, if he hits him right, hopefully he'll stay down. But all in all, I give Wilder the edge because he knows here what he can. Fury hasn't hurt him yet. Fury pity pat him, and that's the biggest thing. He's pity patting these guys to death. You got to put some hurt on Wilder. Now, can he win a 12-round decision? Yes, he can. Fury he's cagey enough to do that. I just don't think if Wilder has his mindset right, cuts the ring off, that he'll allow Fury to do that. He has to cut the ring off on Fury. Make Fury engage. Then you got a chance to knock him out.
John, last couple of questions. One of your former fighters, a guy that I think you had a fantastic relationship with in the ring, some great fights. You and Sergey Kovalev obviously got beat by Canelo. Should that be that, you think, for Kovalev?
I think he has nothing else to prove. I mean, that last fight, from what they tell me, he went into the fight hurt. So you sold the public out for the money. What kind of statement do you make to the public? You're kind of pissing all over them. I'm gonna keep it nice. So
no, you don't have to.
Okay. So what do you? And now he's making all these excuses all Canelo had too many stipulations in the contract. Well, guess what? You signed the contract. You knew. You should have been a man from day one. So I'm not doing that. You sold yourself short, and you sold the public a bad bill of goods that were no good. And you knew going in that you were, and a lot more people than you knew you were hurt when going in. So shame on all of you guys for letting the fight happen. You can't cry about something afterwards. You took the money, you got beat, that's your fault. You didn't look good at all. You know, and Buddy McGirt said that he exposed Canelo. I'm saying exposed to what? Buddy's a good guy, hell of a trainer. He's just in a bad spot with this kid. This kid said it to everybody, the American trainers are the worst. He went and got a Russian trainer and got knocked out. Came back and got what? An American trainer. Make up your mind what we are. We good or we bad, brother? You make me look great because you make yourself look worse as time goes on. Yeah. You know, when he and I were together, he was great. He listened, and then when he won the title, he no longer wanted to train. He told me, John, you're pushing me too hard. I'm gonna get a heart attack. You are. Well, my job is to make you a better fighter. You know, so to answer your question, at this stage of his career, there should be no more career. He should just go ahead and take the money he made and enjoy life. If you come back, and I tell everybody this, if you come back, don't call out Canelo, call out Beterbiev. If you want to prove you're the best heavyweight in the world, call out Beterbiev. See what happens to you. That's the only fight you need. You want to come back because, you know, in this day and age, most of these fighters, they don't have to come back and prove themselves by having 3 or 4 wins. They get a title shot right away. So you can do that. Fight Arthur. That's the only person to call out is Arthur Beterbiev. Then you'll see what happens.
Final question, John. Obviously, we're here in Saudi Arabia for what everyone hopes will be something special. Do you think people will look back on this in 20, 30 years like they do Thriller Manila, Rumble in the Jungle? Do you think it might have that?
If both fighters can really engage and make that happen, it could. But Ali and Frazier, Joe, listen, they loved and hated each other, but they were good for each other. You know, there were things Ali shouldn't have said and done. Because Joe was a nice guy. You know, I was an Ali fan, but as I got older, I really realized, you know, Joe was a good brother. Can these guys make that? Well, the first fight wasn't like that. So why would the second fight really be like that? You know, Ali and Joe, in the ring, they hate each other. Outside the ring, they love each other. These guys don't hate each other. You know, when you knock, if I got stopped by you, I'm not going to take pictures with you, man. You know, I'm serious. Listen, I don't want to talk to you. You know, I've had guys that I fought, and I beat them. I don't want to talk to them today. You know, listen, forget that. You try to hurt me, so, you know. Listen, Josh has to be more, his mindset to be like, he has to be an animal in the ring. He has to be a killer. Ruiz coming to fight. If they can make it that kind of fight, maybe they're going to have a trilogy and have a third fight. But if it's like the second fight, it's not, you know, it's not that intriguing to the fans for a third fight. I don't see it being Ali Frazier. Yeah. Because that's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. But it can be a good fight, and it depends. I think Joshua, he's kind of stiff. He's not mobile. He needs to be a little more looser in what he's doing. Bottom line, to me, it depends on what Joshua does, his mindset. What does he do? Ruiz coming to fight. And that's the biggest thing. The fans have to say, what is Joshua doing? That's the biggest thing. That's the question mark.
That is the question mark, and there we have it. John David Jackson, again, former 2-time world champion, trainer to many champions. John, thanks for talking to Pro Boxing Fans.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.